Hello and welcome to Switch It Up. This is going to be a fun little project that we have kind of putting together in a little series. You excited? What's the series title? Ta-da!
The series title?
Yeah, what are we going to be talking about in our little series?
Oh, well, we're just going to be talking about RV lifestyle and trying to help you figure out if it's for you.
So this is going to be a continuous little segment for a few episodes, I would call them, to help. Several, yeah. We haven't quite figured out how many. So this is episode 1, of course, and we're going to go over what's the main question we're doing today.
Is the RV lifestyle for you?
Wow, yeah, that's exactly what that is.
I think it's just to kick it off.
Okay.
So how about we just roll the intro and then we can kind of get into that a little bit more?
I feel so official. We got bugs flying in my face because we're outside.
Definitely.
We're on our back patio. We're in these wonderful chairs. Like,
what are you doing?
this is like a director role.
Can we just
roll the intro? Yes.
Yes.
A man and a woman left their home to switch things up and go on the road. They didn't know where they would go, but it's gotta be better than staying home. They switched it up. They switched it up.
All right. I am kind of excited about this little series that we're getting ready to do. The sun is setting, Sheila. We're on the back deck. I feel like this is RV lifestyle at its finest.
You do.
I do. So Sheila is actually going to help guide me to stay in my lane and in a box because I like to go squirrel everywhere. And this is going to be a nifty little series that we've thought about coming up with to help people in this.
Well, I think what we're doing is we're wanting to just bring you along because we're trying to make the decision ourselves. So the question is the RV lifestyle for you? And that's for us as well. We've been doing this just for 6 months. We said we're going to do it for a year, but then what after that? And so we're just trying to think through the pros and the cons, our expectations versus what reality is.
What kind of questions maybe you should be asking yourself before you decide what you're going to do.
Yeah, we met a neat couple the other night, and they're just considering it, and we're like, there's probably many people trying to decide, is this something that they want to do,
Yeah, and they
jump in the RV lifestyle.
They sat on our couch for a couple hours and we had some amazing conversations, and then we were like, well, we have some of those questions, we had answers for them, so we thought, well, why don't we just do a little series? So this series is going to be on Tuesdays. We upload 3 days a week, so for the next several weeks we're going to do these little series on Tuesdays to kind of go through this progression so that in the future when somebody watches this they can kind of jump in a playlist and watch all of them before they make their decision.
Right. And just to answer that question, is the RV lifestyle for you? That's what we're after. So
that's where we're starting?
That's where we're starting. Let's first talk about what your expectation of RV life was going to be like versus reality. And there's something that you should know about us. If you're new to our channel, there's no sugar coating things here. We just tell you exactly what we think, and it's just, remember, it's our opinion.
Yes.
You may have a total different experience, but we're just being honest with you here. And so, Todd, what was your expectation of RV life?
So when we started this idea we jumped into RV lifestyle in a short amount of time, literally from like August to January, and we were on the road, got rid of everything and took off. My expectation in the beginning is that everyone's going to be outside and people sitting around fires and we're going to all hang out and all this amazing stuff. And then we hit the road and we head straight down to Florida, and in Florida it was kind of like that down in Key West. And then little by little, we learned that most people stay in their little areas, in their RVs, just like they do at home, and you have to be intentional about going to talk to people. And that expectation kind of blew me away because I was like, oh, this is going to be way more social than our subdivision life or our apartment life when people just legitimately just go in their doors, lock the door, and they don't go talk to their neighbors. This is a little more social, but I was expecting it to be a lot more.
So I think you were probably thinking more along the lines of camping.
Probably, yes.
Right?
But we didn't grow up camping.
Well, we went camping some.
No, just like my childhood I never did.
Okay, yeah.
I had a few instances, and then when our family life, we did a couple times, but yeah, I guess my expectations were just different.
I really went in probably with zero expectations because I just really didn't
You were
know.
excited.
I was excited. I was nervous. There's a lot of unknowns, but let's start going through the pros and the cons.
Okay.
So if we go through the pros and the cons, some of the pros for me might be a con for you.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons why I was excited was because the question for you guys is how do you handle change?
Oh.
I look at that as a pro. Like there was always something new to see, somewhere new to go, we're going to see different people, like different foods to try, just like different things like that. And you like
So everyone sees me as
stable.
this, outgoing, crazy Todd. And honestly, there's a lot of times I'm just an introvert and I like structure. Like she would make fun of me. I would do the same things to do checklists and she would be like, she's like, you kind of have some OCD tendencies. I said, I don't have OCD. But she's like, no, really, Todd, you got some issues. But so then you take that and then you come into this lifestyle and everything is about change. The coolest part, though, which turned into a pro, was that in this environment, our outside changes, but the inside stays the same. So therefore, when it stays the same, you're dealing with the same routines, the same structure, everything's around. So that is a pro. There was a pro and a con.
how you deal with change. You just need to process and think through that one. So then another pro, something that I think is a huge pro, probably my favorite, is that there's always something new to see, like our backyard.
Yeah.
It changes. Like, yes, our home stays the same, but our backyard changes all the
Yeah,
time.
we got sunsets and outside. It's beautiful.
Well, there's always a sunset.
Yeah, it's just some are a lot prettier in different places.
Yeah, I mean, we're out getting to see the United States, and that is a definite pro. There's so much to see. It's just amazing that we've been able to do that. Now, a con on that, though, is what, Todd?
A con on everything changing all the time?
We're constantly moving and seeing new things.
Okay, con on that is driving to these locations and not knowing where you're pulling in. Like, you don't know if your rig's going to fit, if the roads are going to be too small. It's like, so on moving days, there's a lot of unknown factors that really come into play that really is probably the hardest thing to deal with. That would be a con.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For me, because I'm driving.
That goes back to you like the same thing, the structure. Like, you like that routine of knowing where things are and what's going on and that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah. I would say probably the hardest con for me
Right.
is going to be family in our community.
Yes.
That's been really difficult. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things you guys need to think through is you're leaving behind your nuclear community,
Right.
your friends, your family,
Church family,
Yeah.
your structure.
those people that you normally hang out with. Now, we have this benefit that we're building a community with the Switch Crew.
Right.
It's different, though, because a lot of it's online, or we might meet up with some people in the park. But your day-to-day interactions with your friends and family, that's probably been the hardest for me. That's a huge con.
In this environment, you're dealing with like micro relationships.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
you're building a short-term relationship that changes a lot, and then out of that, you may end up getting somebody's number and talking to them more, kind of like what we did the other night with when they came by and we visited.
Right. So we're meeting new people, but those friendships can only go so deep versus, when you have your friends and family back home.
Right.
Technology helps tremendously. I mean, the grandkids will call on FaceTime and we're able to see them, but it's just not the same. I need my little hugs from my little peoples.
Yeah, and we go back to see them on occasion, so that's good.
That's the benefit of living in Kansas City in the middle, is that we can just kind of sweep through and see our family more often.
So then, what's another pro and con that you have?
I think it was a con, but I think you probably looked at it as a pro. And that would be the whole downsizing.
Oh, I loved getting rid of everything, simplifying, moving into the rig, just cutting ties with a bunch of stuff. I absolutely love that component.
Why?
I don't know. I think so much, we had so much stuff for so long that now being freed up has just been a nice change of pace.
I guess, see, that's baffling to my mind. So I'm like, how were you not free?
The garage was full of junk, you know. I mean, we had stuff that we didn't need.
What he really means is he hated mowing grass. See, there's
Just
a pro.
Just keep
there's
going.
A pro.
Yeah.
You don't have to mow
I don't have to mow grass anymore. We do have to make repairs. Like at home, we always had to deal with the garage door needed to be replaced. The concrete needed to be replaced. She said, hey, the deck needs to probably be done this year. The fence was not whoopee. Then we had cracks in our foundation. I was like, if we have to replace this foundation or do these piers, it's going to be like $25,000. And it's like it was all weighing. And there's some of you that you're hearing me loud and clear on what I'm saying. So when we sold the house and to get rid of that, and then you come here, and yes, RV lifestyle is full of repairs. You don't know what's going to break next, but it's different. It's a different stress. And I just feel so free.
Well,
sorry I got on a soapbox
I
there.
guess that's pretty big pro for Todd.
Oh, yeah. There is a lot of repairs. Things break all the time.
Yeah, but like you said,
so
they're smaller. You don't need to have to. We're not replacing, all the siding on the house and paying for
wood
paint
rot
job
repair,
and
painting.
all that. Yes, that is true. We're not doing that. I would think that a pro, and this is probably something that you have to talk through with your spouse, is this has been really good for our marriage.
Right.
Just the time together, me being together all the time. It's been positive for us.
Right.
However, you need to assess your marriage and your situation with communication, because there's a lot of times where it's high stress. Something breaks, you took the wrong turn, you're delayed, or you're in heavy traffic, or it's raining,
tired,
or
you're
it's
stressed,
90 degrees out and you gotta set up. Like, there's just some extra stress in that, and then you're with each other all the time. So how you handle stress and pressure, I think if your marriage is already struggling with those in stressful situations like that,
Right.
you might want to work on fixing that before you hop in.
Before you start asking
this
that,
lifestyle.
is this RV lifestyle for you? That is going to be a huge component. We actually did a video on communication in that element in itself. That is a very, very good. I think we've had our highs and lows, but I'd say 90% of the time we have been a lot better off than we were prior to starting this. And then we've had some tense moments where we weren't happy with either one of our decisions, but that's par for the course. I mean, we've been married now 25 years, so communication, though, even after 25 years, is still a struggle. We even struggled making this video, trying to figure out how we were going to communicate this, and we were speaking two different languages at once.
Yes. The benefit some people have of being able to still hit the road with their family.
Yes.
It might be different, because then you have your community together, you're all together, you have kids for, just even kind of that marriage balance, that it's not just the two of you only.
Or it could be a huge stressor. I mean,
Yeah.
that might be, if you're going to live the RV lifestyle, I mean, that might be one of your biggest concerns, is like, people buy toy haulers and are like, we'll make the back the bedroom for the kids and we'll do this. I mean, those are legitimate questions on your family dynamic if you're going to try to do it with children. That's a whole other thing.
So let's think this through for a second. We have how do you handle change?
Mm-hmm.
How is your marriage or your family dynamic?
Right. We're not talking finances right now.
No, not talking about that right now. What are some of the other pros and cons that we've went through? Change, family,
When we had to
your community.
sit and make the decision to go in such a short amount of time, we processed it out really fast, in probably the excitement mode of, this is going to be amazing. We're going to see all these things. Her dream was always to see the United States and the East Coast and the fall foliage, and how are we going to put this together? And so you get caught up in that excitement that you're willing to overlook those challenges. And I think that's what this video is kind of the starting point, is that to bring the challenges up first, to have you have communication and deciding.
Yeah, I think it's been wisely said that you need to consider the cost.
Yeah.
You need to walk through everything.
We didn't come up with that.
No, we didn't come up with that. That is reused. But count the costs before you, and so we just know what you're going into with your eyes wide open. And there's a lot of decisions that need to be made, and a lot of different points that we will cover in the upcoming videos. But just initially, you got to think about your family dynamics, your communication, your marriage.
Who you're traveling with. Even if you're not married, if you're choosing to travel with somebody, who that person is and the dynamic you have.
Yep. How do you handle change? How do you handle stressful situations? And then you have to ask yourself the pro of there's always new environment. Mm-hmm. I think another pro is we really avoided winter this year.
Oh, it was fabulous.
Like we really have avoided the 100-degree heat.
Oh, yes.
Like,
that was fabulous
we've
too.
had a couple of days we're like, ooh, it's really hot, and we're like, oh, it says it's 85. Yeah. Like the weather, being able to chase the weather that we're looking for, being able to see the things we want to see in the United States, those pros to us outweigh these other cons. But I think being together, that's a pro. So that's a.
I think I coined them as awe-inspiring moments. For a while, I said we're collecting sunsets. It was for a while to stand in some of the places that we've been able to and feel like, oh my goodness, this is just, God just made this amazing thing for us to see and soak in. And you have, like, that is probably one of my biggest pros, is just to stand there and take it in. That right now, thank goodness, with videos and stuff, I can live back through and watch those, because it's just, I don't know, I think that is when you're standing there in that moment, it trumps all the problems that you might have went through to get to this. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, there's just those moments. Oh, the cicadas are coming out, we better hurry.
Yeah. One of the pros for me is I love people. I love community. I miss my nuclear community. Yeah. But here's the thing, is all of us are one step ahead of somebody else. Yeah. We have knowledge about something else. We've had an experience in something, we've already went through for somebody else. So we're being able to meet some people that are being able to help us and to share some life moments with us. And we're also then being able to pour into other people. Yeah. And to me, just meeting people.
Building the relationships with our SwitchItUpCrew community.
Yeah. And just the diversity of America, like just meeting different people and learning about different cultures. And I'm just kind of like a little sponge right now, absorbing like, well, gosh, I didn't know the difference between this and this, or how this was created, or didn't,
Yeah, like that is true.
Yeah, there's just a lot of things
especially
that we're learning.
Culture, like even today, we went to Mammoth Cave and we were hanging out and some Amish boys came up. Yeah. And they were speaking another language, and I was like, it caught me off guard. And then we talked to them for several minutes, learning about their culture. Yeah,
just having great conversations with people, and I love that. I'm inquisitive about people and places and experiencing new things. So I think that trumps all the other things for us, except for, just being honest, I am struggling with my nuclear community. That one is tough, and that's just something that you have to take into consideration. Can you and how will you stay in touch with your friends and your family?
That intentionality we have in our SWITCH acronym, that's what the I is.
Yeah, but because we're out helping others, the H acronym,
it's
a struggle for sure.
But these are questions you are going to have to answer for yourself.
Yep, for you to decide.
You have to decide. And some of you will make different, as we make these videos for the next several weeks, we hope that we guide you in some of our thought processes, and we're going to cover things like finances, and we're going to cover things like planning, and we're going to cover things. We have all these things that we're going to plan in this little series on Tuesday. So
all the questions, all the things, when we're talking about counting the cost, all the things that you need to probably process and think through and get some answers around before you make the jump and become an RV newbie.
Mm-hmm. And so the question starts out, is the RV lifestyle for you?
Yeah.
I mean, and I would use some of these questions that we just bounced off of you and cause that as a starting point to maybe communicate with the person that you're looking at maybe starting this journey with.
One of the things we're just thinking, when you just said that reminded me, one of the things is, how do you handle small living spaces?
I don't know. We joke around a lot, as you've seen on some of our other videos, but we really have some pretty deep conversations.
I mean, if you're coming from a 9,000 square foot house and you're going to come to 400 square feet,
Yeah.
you might really want to seriously consider just living in your bedroom together for like a week and see how you do.
Some of the bathrooms are bigger than this place that we're in. That's so true, right?
I think our closet was the size of
Yeah.
our bedroom.
I know, it's crazy. So,
But those are just
Yeah.
some things to think through, how to, some pros and some cons as you process, is the RV lifestyle for you. So we hope that you will do all the things like comment, subscribe.
as we grow the community and we continue reaching others and helping others.
And, maybe a great thing for those of you that have chosen this RV lifestyle is leave a comment
Oh,
down
yeah.
below of your pro or con that maybe we've missed, that you've experienced, to help others as they're processing and
That's a good
thinking
point.
through
Because she's
the story.
always thinking. You're good. She's good. She's figured this YouTube thing out. All right, with that being said, we like to generally end our videos by saying we are